Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Chai. I am Urja Desai Thakore, Artistic Director and CEO of Pagrav Dance Company. Before we begin, I want to name something. This conversation isn't an interview, it's remembering. When we talk about work, we often talk about outcomes, the performance, the applause, the reviews. But rarely do we talk about the relationships that make the work possible. This episode is about friendship. Not friendship as a concept, but friendship as a practice. I knew Hiren before this work. Akash came into the picture later. At this time, none of us knew what this relationship would become. What I remember is generosity, a willingness to show up, to give, and to stay curious. Bahara the Spring was made in 2005, but its root run deeper than that. They live in trust, in listening, and in slow building of something shared. So today, I'm sitting with Akash Odedra and Hiren Chate. We are not here to explain the work. We are here to talk about the friendship that shapes art and how art sometimes shapes friendship. This is Rhythm and Chai. Welcome, Akash. Welcome, Hiren.
Thank you.
I hope you guys have got chai with you.
Yep, I have. I think Hiren's is just brewing right now. Cheers. There's never enough moments where you can have tea. You can just keep having tea. So much of it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to first start with sharing something and then we can talk. It's going to be quite a nostalgia. I'm going to share this.
फिर क्या पवन उपवन सर सरित गहन गिरि कानन कुंजलता पुंजों को पार कर पहुंचा जा उससे की खेली कली खिली साथ
So, what is the first reaction when you saw this?
Um, how life has changed so much, yet something about what we were then remains today, and there's still this kind of connection, laughter, banter, synergy that still remains present between all of us till today. Even though the world has changed, something from that time has bonded us so closely that I can pick up the phone to you and talk to you at any point, day or night. I don't feel a formality. And yeah, you just see that lack of formality. You just see kind of like connectivity with each other, you know, and how also when I look at the production, I see how much your productions have changed since then, since the concept of Bahara till the most present ones, Ruh, within that you've done recently. And you know, you can see how the theme has changed and kind of the influences that you've had.
The first memory that came to me was in the process of this Bahara. If we made mistakes or whatever we did, it was like, it was great teamwork. And even now, when I was watching it, I was thinking about all those 20 years ago now it is. Okay, oh my God, so much has changed. But I think our friendship is still the same. No matter what, Akash can get 500 awards, Urja can get 1,000 awards. It doesn't matter when it comes to our friendship. We are still the same. I can go to Urja's house and ask her, like, please make 25 rotis for me. Anyway, she doesn't want to. I can do the same with Akash and he'll keep on feeding me. So I cherish this friendship with both of you. So it's very special. It's even if we don't work together, I never feel that why has Akash not asked me or why has Urja not asked me to be part of this piece. I always feel happy for both of you. So I think that's the best thing, which happens very rarely with very few people. I know many people, but with both of you, it's like I can just be myself, which is the best part of it.
When I was just thinking as Hiren was speaking that there, there was a passion then. We were there to also really give it our all, like whatever we were doing. And as I was thinking, like, what was it? And I still remember trying to find a signature movement, and then explaining to you what is a signature movement and what does the identity of this character mean. And I just remember there was such a passion in trying to give it your all. It was never treated as okay. Now also what happens is sometimes you end up like now in Korea you end up prioritizing a project and how much energy you're going to dispense into it, because it's not possible to always go 100% through everything, although I would like to. But I remember here, there was no kind of calculation about how much you're going to give. Every second meant you were committed to it. Whatever, for me at that time, whatever Urja said, I did. There was no kind of question about it. Whatever she said, it was done. But along the way, as a result, there was a lot of laughter. There's a lot of mistakes, funny moments in their research and development, which we still remember, like Jatanil's synthesizer going wrong and making cuckoo sounds, cuckoo, all these sounds kind of just appearing while we're performing. But I think that's what's kept the human bond between us. I think there was a sense of we had a friendship, but that didn't get into the production. But as a result of trying to work hard and make things happen, and I think it was love. I think there was a lot of love for each other and wanting to make it the best we can, and trying to be super serious at points. But I think with us, it can't be too serious for too long. And as a result, I think there was lots of laughter, lots of banter, lots of catchphrases that we still have, such as, Hiren, finish it off, dal,
But
rotli, shak.
I was waiting for this when it's
Yeah.
to come out. What I remember about this piece is what Hiren you said, that of course I knew you before, long before we kind of before I moved to UK, so there was a friendship there. But Akash's and mine friendship has started and it kind of brewed only because of Akash. That I can say it for sure. Because I remember that I was quite skeptical of making friends in this country. But Akash was like a constant
Irritation.
persistence, not irritation, persistence. And it was And I'm so glad. Even when I was looking for male dancers, I said, okay, Akash will be the one.
And also, I think like I used to, like during Bahara, I used to come and stay down in your house, right?
Yes, yes.
So, I was.
All of you have
Yeah,
stayed at
we
my
have all,
place.
all stayed, and that's where there was more fun. And you made it feel like a home. And, even like you would make food for us. Nowadays you work with dancers and so many of them. Here it was like, okay, you'd work, and yes, we would, might have per diems, but you would still make dal bhat, rotli shak, like, everything was kind of hands on. Now we have people to do things and stuff. But I think that time, yeah, it was like we were kind of taking things on, but you were taking a lot of responsibility on. And maybe it was a kind of continuation of your training in India with Kumi Ben. Like you guys were so used to doing it DIY properly. And I suppose Hiren fitted into that equation because he crossed into that world with you, so it kind of understood. And of course, things are very different now. You have a contract with a dancer, it's from X hour to X hour. Whereas while we're going in the car, we're thinking about, okay, what can we change? What can happen? Here, listen to this song from Paheli, the film. This line is really cool, and then a conversation about, oh, we can do this in there, we can improve this. What if we did this? So we kind of burst into song and dance informally out of hours. And I think that's what made it so special. And that's why I think things have lasted the way they have.
I feel, yes, it was my production, Bagrav's production, first production, all of those things were there. But I felt a lot of generosity, not only in studio, but outside as well. So my question to you is, did ever generosity felt like you're letting go of something which is in your hand, or was it an effort, or what does generosity feels to you like?
Okay, I think for me, generosity only feels like generosity when you think you're doing something special. Like I wouldn't think that I was being generous. I mean, it's different how you perceived it. I wouldn't think that I was being generous. I just felt I was doing what I would do, and that too, especially for a friend, and with a friend and someone who I consider, because Bahara was your concept, your idea, but I felt like it was my project, and there was no difference between me and you or me and Hiren. So I felt like giving wasn't something special that we did. It's something that we did, like I say, without calculation. Now, at this point in life, I would think, okay, there's four projects out of there. I've got 2 days out of there. I have to give this much. It's a little bit more crammed and a bit more calculated. Even though I try for it not to be, but yeah. But that time I felt there was no question of like, was I being generous? I felt like I was just being me, um, and I think, and that's because you were you, and that's why I was able to be me. And as a byproduct, there was this sense now looking back at it of generosity. If you look at it from a fourth perspective.
But I agree that when you are when you call someone friend, the generosity, you don't think about that you are being generous or there is a generosity in this relationship. It just, you are you, as you said. But at that time, we didn't know each other this closely. Like, again, I will say that me and Hiren did know each other much more than Akash, you and me. And as I said, that we met at the time of Ekatra, and I've said this story 1,000 times, that I was like, why is he not, because you used to not spend time with us during the lunchtime and all, and I was like, why is this not spending time? But I could feel the sense of love from you from day one. That was undeniable. So even when you were calling, when you thought that you are annoying me, I used to always say that this guy is so good. He always calls me, and I used to always tell this to my husband, that he's so good and he's just calling me, and I am so bad I don't call him. So when I was looking for dancer, your name kind of was very natural to me. But even at that time, the relationship grew because there was a lot of generosity from your side. I feel like I'm very happy to hear that you felt the same thing from my side as well. But I felt that generosity was not only in the relationship but also in what you guys were giving, and this being kind of first major work, all of us were together and involvement from all of us was there. And yeah, I felt that. So yeah, that is what I wanted to ask. Like,
Yeah, I think like just even going on that as well, I think it's also innocence as well. See, now social media has changed things. The more you experience, as Hiren has experienced, you yourself, you experience more things. But then there was a sense of naivety, and also naivety has a sense of purity. And purity has no boundaries and no kind of fixtures to it, right? There's a sense of like you just want to give as much as you possibly can. For us at that time as well, and especially for me, I felt like an open book. Like whatever my life was, it was right in front of you. And I think it's a combination of the time we were in, the points we were in our lives. And I suppose for us, as a blessing, it came at the right time because the combination of all those kind of elements and ingredients has led to a friendship that, like Kiran says, we don't need to speak to each other for a year, a month, or two, whatever. We can still pick up the phone and just take off where we left off. And I think that is, and I think the spirit of that generosity that you speak about is the relationship that we have today. It's just a spirit of generosity.
But yeah, it's true. It's like when you're not, you don't have to pretend, and you can just be yourself. That's what I'll again say the same thing. I think time flows and ideas flow, and then and it's the kind of energy that you receive from the other person. Like I know Urja was saying how many compositions we had, and we had like 81 tukadas. I don't remember. There were like 6 sheets of paper with me, and I had to remember the order, which tukada is coming after which one. And there were 3 sections. But I think for me, I'd never done a production like this before. So, and never rehearsed with so many other like dancers and other musicians. So it was a great learning experience. But I never felt, okay, oh my God, now I have to go for a rehearsal today again for 8 hours or 9 hours. So I used to look forward to it. I'll just speak for myself. I was not there to prove something to someone, but I had a feeling that I want to create something which Urja likes or which makes her piece brighter. I think I really like the piece even now. And me and Akash, when I was in England a couple of years ago, we've seen the piece a couple of times, and it was very nostalgic. And thank you for those amazing
I just
memories.
want to add to that. A memory just came back. There was a few other dancers who came into the research and development, and I remember there was a certain composition Hiren was asked to play, which wasn't sticking in your mind. It wasn't. You weren't familiar with it that time. And I remember him being really annoyed at himself, like thinking, "Oh, why isn't this? It just kind of slips." And fast forward many years later, Hiren had like refined his skill so much to the point where he made 10 versions of that same composition and better ones, and actually made some of those dancers hear those compositions. So you kind of, like, I think it was also challenge from then, like, even in that point, like, I remember Urja saying to me, Takite, dekite, gina. Now, I never lifted my foot on Gina, ever. Because I was never told to. Because it wasn't part of our kind of
training.
Gharana vocabulary. This Gina, or it wasn't part of the training. So it's only when she said lift, that's the first time I realized, even through half the shows, I didn't lift. I think there was a point where you said it's lift. It took me that long. So along the way, I was learning. So more than a professional in there, I was also a student at the same time. So I was learning from Urja. These compositions weren't part of my vocabulary or my kind of gharana. So I was learning so much. So, even like some of the melodies that were created, that the Sarod one, that dun, 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 dun. Even now, I'll be honest with you, I still jump onto YouTube and that few, I think it's about 15 seconds, I listen to that. Such an emotional melody. Like there were so many incredible little gems and little drops of diamonds that had come from this. And I think on some level, I've taken them and then I've moved forward with them and then grown from there. So it's nice to see that like how from that point in 2008 9 to like present day, how much Hiren has shifted his kind of vocabulary and he's skilled himself up to go back to some of these places and said, here's 10 versions of what you said then. And Urja, you as well, since then you've created X amount of choreographies, and you always say to me, come and watch this one, come and watch this one, what do you think? And even if you don't say what do you think, I'll still give you my opinion. So,
That's the best part of it.
yeah, and I think for us, for me at least, it's not about whether I liked it or not. I always think it's my friend. What can I suggest in here that will help it, will enhance it even more. It's always for me. It's less so for do I like it, don't I like it. It's like there's a proud moment. You can see that you've done that journey, and even Urja, you as well. In recent times, like even at this point in your career and life, how you've managed to completely transform your kind of your body, your health to come into par with dancers who are probably half your age. So to see that kind of level of determination and kind of like never give up, never die spirit is incredible. I even saw it in Bahara as well. There was a movement where you would go down on, I was just used to hopping around. It was just the thing I did. So you wouldn't give in then. There was a movement where we had to go down and we had to jump up and we had to go down. Even though you struggled at points, you didn't. And I used to say to you, Urja, just leave it. Just don't worry. You are just, nope, I'm going to do it this way. And you did it. And that's what I think it's the spirit of determination as well. And I think that's what's incredible. That still lives on. Bahara's spirit of determination.
So this actually goes into very nicely into this question about listening. There's a kind of listening that happens beyond words, and do you feel that is between us, and where there are moments when the movements after listening feels less like doing and more like just being what it is, and how does the silence function for us? Is it comfortable, awkward, sometimes necessary? Yeah.
Yeah, so for this, it's sometimes even if you're talking, I'm already, for me, as friends for both of you and colleagues and co-workers, like we also worked, you've worked with Hiren in other productions and I've worked with Hiren in Mehek and a few other things on the side after Bahara. Even if you guys are talking and you're saying something to me, I am actually not listening to your words, I'm listening behind it, what you're feeling. Even if you're somewhere and sometimes you might be feeling bad, you would just say this often, you'll often say, that's so weird, I was just thinking of X, Y, and Z, or I was just thinking of, and I feel like when you've made a link, that link is pretty much for life. That goes beyond the words. That goes even beyond what you guys are trying to show that you're maybe saying to me. Because for me, what's most important is what's going on inside your heart beyond all of this. Our conversations are movement, our conversations are music, our conversations are creative, even if they may be talking about nothing. Because I think we creatively unlock each other somehow.
Yeah, for me, it's like because I know both of you so well that even if when I was working with with Akash in Mehak, for example, sometimes when he's trying to do something and something doesn't work or someone's late or whatever, I from his just if I'm like 30 feet away from him and I look at him, I can make out from his expression okay, what is going in his head right now. And same with you also, like when we did Kattam Katti and sometimes something doesn't work or the string's not working or this is not working. I know all the other artists who are in Kattangut, they know you really well as well. But I think I'm the oldest who's known you for a long time. So from her one expression or when she's tired, I know what is going in her head. So I think for both of you, there's this soft corner also. So I never consider when I work with you guys, okay, oh, this is like my profession and I have to make money, so I have to do this project. So that goes out of the window for me. But it's this constant thing, how can I help them? That's what goes in my head. So because I'm not a dancer and I work differently with you guys as a musician, so my vocabulary with you is different compared to when Akash and Urja, when you were working Bahara, and Akash just spoke about the movement, For me, the movement was not there, but my job was to make that the ride of those moments comfortable, just in whatever way I could, by playing the composition or just by playing a simple teka or whatever it could be. But I feel I so I think I can also speak a lot, but I'm just running out of words. But because I feel that there's nothing to say. It's so natural. It was never thought or it was never planned. Okay, oh, today I have to behave like this. I have to do this. It just came naturally for all of us, and I think that's what makes the production and the friendship, very very cherishing. And
I have something to say that you talk about me with my movements, but Urja is also a musical. She also sings. Her mother also sings as well. So she also had like her particulars. Like, no, I want this like this. No, I want this like this, yeah? And she'll hear something and she'll think, why don't you change it like this? So there was definite like, oh, this is his territory. Oh, this is her territory. Like when I did this composition, what was it? Hiren loved this composition. So pardon my French, but he called it, he said, oh, sexy composition karto. Like, do that sexy composition. He loved that one. So there was a crossover in our world. So we did definitely tread on each other's toes, which I thought was great. And sometimes Hiren would get irritated when, Archita might suggest, she'll go into, why don't you sing this like this? Because he's trying to find his ground and then he was kind of interjected. But I think that was the cool thing about it. Like, what? It wasn't like he would go and say, this is my world, He would listen and then he would like moan a little bit, but maybe somewhere there was crossovers. So I think that's the beauty of it as well. And I think as well for me on a personal level as well, when I was doing Bahara, I was also going through a lot of stuff in my, personal life and it was really difficult. So I was like, I don't know. I just felt like I was coming to see my older friend and my older sister, and like being around Hiren's present as well. And then in 2020, when Hiren came and you were staying over here, there was also a very very tough time in my life again, and kind of Hiren would make food in the house, and yeah, and I think he's a brilliant cook, by the way, better than his tabla and his cooking. I would eat it any day. So, and I would make pathetic rotalis, but I would do my attempt. But there was a sense of support outside of that world of just music and dance. And, yes, that was that kind of binding factor of all of us. But I feel like, on personal levels, I felt like I always called Urja when I felt I was down about something, and Hiren was there in a time in my life where things were really really tough. So sometimes these things you don't forget, and they start somewhere, and fast forward like 20 odd years later, um, they end up somewhere else. I mean, since Ekatra, Hiren, you were also in Ekatra during the workshops as well, right?
Yeah, he
yeah,
was.
I came
He
for
So
was
how
2 days, I
many
think.
years? That was 2004.
4.
So now 21 years ago. So
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have known each other for longer, but I've known you both for 21 years. Where we started off in Ekatra and where we've ended up today is two different places.
I've known
Yes.
Urja for 25 years now.
Wow.
Did the friendship allow that for that risk? And did it ask for a vulnerability first and then kind of allow for that risk? And were there moments where the friends made it difficult, being friends made it difficult for you to kind of communicate that, oh my God, how can I say it? Or I'm going to say it regardless, and then kind of rethink about, yeah. Did friendship make it difficult at some point?
I think during Bahara, for me, there was this thing of wanting to learn as well. So there was a lot of, my ears were very much open, my eyes are very much open. And I generally have this rule when I'm with the choreographer is my God. Whatever they say, I will do. If I feel something is gonna shift, I don't impose it. I just start to put it in there, or allow for the choreographer to take something out of it. And I think again, innocence as well. Like that time, there wasn't a lot of things for me to say that, I don't like this, I don't agree. I think now, myself, Hiren, we would have more opinions because there's more experience now. Like I understand now what works and what doesn't work in my world, and you also understand what works and what doesn't work. But I don't think that's ever held us back. Like recently, you came to watch a production, you told me you don't like it, and that was that. So so I think we still do, and like with Hiren as well. Like if there's something like during Mehek, something wasn't working, I would say to him, Hiren, it's black and white. It's not to do with you and me as friends. It's just to do with this. It just doesn't work. And I know even if he did feel hurt, I'm still okay with that. Why? Because my friendship is stronger than him feeling hurt in that moment. So, but yes, there are points where I think subconsciously, sometimes if you want to say something, like, I would give you feedback about one of your pieces that I came to watch. Sometimes I've got to, yeah, I'm also, again, not looking at things critically, right? I'm looking at it as a friend, but then it's difficult for me. This is where it gets difficult. So when I'm in the auditorium, one part of me is watching as an audience member who doesn't know you. I try to do that on purpose. The other part of me is the friend and the loyalty and the friendship. So there's a kind of clash between these two, and sometimes one of them can be not so nice inside me. Like one of them can be a bit harsh and say, well, da, da, da. But then I have to think, okay, if I'm going to convey your heart, because even the other side, that harshness comes from a place of care.
Care.
Yeah, it comes from a place of care. But how and when I convey that to you, sometimes like rarely I've got to be like, I think, thoughtful a little bit about when I convey that to you, and really, is it necessary? Like, is it necessary? Because for me, first comes the friendship. So yes, it can if I'm putting in order, first comes the friendship, then everything else professionally and as an audience member and as blah blah blah. So I think because of that friendship, sometimes I think subconsciously you might censor some things. You might think it's okay, for this part of what they're doing, whether it's you or Hiren, it's fine. So I think there's a certain point where we can have an openness, but I think there is a certain level of also care and sensitivity towards a friend, which sometimes might become a boundary, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind having a boundary, because for me, my relationship with you as a soul, as a person, and with Hiren and his red background that he's showing right now is more important than anything else.
Yeah, I completely agree, because I what you just said about the current work, which I kind of came to see, and after I said it, I was like, oh no, I should have not said that. But then I was like, no, I have to be honest, because that is what he's expecting me to be, and I know that he is much more capable of what every time I come and see your work, Akash, I always feel like, oh my God, he has grown so much as a performer, and his production, and then of course I will have my own thoughts about this could have worked, and this didn't work for me, and when I have completely blown away, that also I have said it. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And even with Hiren, when he was creating music for I Within, I think that was the maximum I had disagreement with him, because I was like, no, I don't like this. No, I don't like this. I don't like this sound. I don't like this sound. And
You won't
but we
believe,
were okay
Urja.
with that.
Only 2 days ago, someone called me and said, "We heard that piece and we want this piece." No? So I said, "You speak to Urja. Hiren bhai, can I use 4 5 minutes?" I said, "See, it's not my piece now. It's Urja has the rights. You ask her, and she's okay." Then I go, "Okay, oh, okay, no, it's okay. I'll. Can you create something like this?" I go, "I will work on it." So, but a lot of people have liked
Yeah,
that piece.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It has been really loved. But how much did we fight at that time? So much of like disagreement, and
Well, yeah,
then
imagine that never there was like no animosity between us. Kya,
no, no.
Urja she just spoke to me like this and she's so angry because I'm so used to it. You know, even Akash gets angry. Or Akash doesn't get angry like you, but he says, "Ke Hiren na nahi." In your case, you are like very expressive, Urja, you know, which is a good thing. Akash is not. Akash is very subtle compared to you, but I can read both of you, you know, from his eyes and your eyes. I know that from your face I can make out okay, now she's really angry. It's like there's no filter for all three of us with each other. So it's like no one finds it difficult. Okay, oh my God, I'm meeting Urja after 2 years. What should I say to her? Kasun, "Hey, chat hai, su kare?" You know?
Yeah.
So it's very natural. So I love that.
This type of openness then I mean, it's brilliant. It was brilliant then, brilliant now, but it does then cause a problem. I'll tell you why. Not between us, because then what happens is you go out into the world thinking every relationship, every collaboration is going to be like this, when it's not. And then when you hit a wall, oh God, does it hit you hard? Because you realize with a lot of people who I work with, collaborate with, or choreograph for, there's a definite wall, and then it's really difficult because how can A, you be honest, B, there's a certain formalities, and I think we three don't work well with formalities, especially in the creative setting. I feel if there's a sense of we are able to be open, you'll be able to get the best of us, and there's, like Hiren said, a flow. But the kind of friendship that we have is then also problematic because then when we go outside and work with X, Y, and Z, they need their time. You know, it's a cutoff. This needs to be like this. This is my zone. This is your zone. Do not talk. So it becomes hard because here we're all treading very beautifully on each other's toes. And there, you can't tread on someone's toes. If you do, you're cautioned, or it's a warning, or the person feels, unhappy or unsafe or whatever it is. And I think so. This has been a blessing, but then also when you go out and work in the other world, where not everyone is an open book. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard.
I have learned it in a very hard way, that
That's why
truth.
you appreciate this even more.
Yes.
I feel like knowing your trajectories, like knowing the conversations me and Urja had on the phone, and to see where every achievement that you guys make, whether that's Hiren with his festival in India, calling Zakir ji and all these incredible, huge artists to come and perform. Oh, it's you, Urja, with becoming an NPO organization, and performing in Sadler's Wells. There's such a sense of pride for me. There's such a sense because I feel like even though I've not been in your shoes, I've been part of your struggle. Like I've heard you guys, and I've heard you guys struggle. I've seen you guys struggle with things. So every time there was an achievement, it felt like a part of me had moved ahead with you. So I just want to say that's something that is so important to me, that every time I see that you've been acknowledged in this way, or you've, Hiren is called X, Y, and Z for his festival, or he's working with so and so, or he's married and settled, you know, it makes me feel really happy because I've been a part of your life and struggle, and to be then an observer of your success. It's like I feel like that's when I'm put into your shoes. I'm taking your glory, even though you've achieved it.
But same
Like
thing,
likewise.
yeah, exactly. When you got this award as the best male classical dancer and best male dancer, to be the first Indian classical dancer to win that award. I was like, that evening when I came back, everyone was like, "Did you win?" I said, "No, Akash won." And I was like, "But what about you?" I said, "No, I have not won. It's okay, but Akash won." It was so like it felt so like full of joy and proud moment for me. I was like, wow, it's all the hard work you kind of see people putting in.
Don't you think also as well, like, not to cause a rift between the India lot, the India dance and the music community and here, I feel like there's a certain friendship that us like Brit Asian people, like the people who are functioning here, that we have that isn't there in India.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a certain level of support, whether that's Hiren, you and Gauri Tripathi ji, or you and Urja, or me and you, or I don't know, whoever. I feel like there's even like we'll know Sanjay and Pranav, we'll know so and so, and so there's a sense of a unity. I feel that we have, like in this side of the globe, that is not so prevalent in India, because India is a big country and there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of dances, whereas our world over here is a lot smaller. And you are always going to kind of bump into people. And, but I feel like there is a sense of friendship and support. I think after a certain point, especially I think Urja, like our generation, onwards, like the kind of friendships that we all have with each other, there's a real sense of care. Like, and I think it's brilliant. And I'm saying that because I'm very proud of it. Because when I go to other places, it's not there. And I feel like we have that. And I have to say that I'm super, super proud of like what we have between all of us.
But also to add what you are saying, Akash, even the next generation after us, they are
Even
so
closer.
happy with
Yeah.
each other's progress. They would apply for the same amount of funding as others. Of course, they will feel bad when they don't get it, but when their friends get it, they get even more happy. You can see, and I'm seeing as a teacher, I'm seeing that in the class day in and day out, that they are so happy. And like, if you remember, me and Manuela used to always say that there is a space for everyone, each one of us, because not what you want to do, I want to do. So there is definitely a space for each of the ideas to kind of blossom. So it is, I think it is in that sense, I would say that yes, we are very special in this part of.
But just on that note, I feel that why I like kind of our generation going into the next rather than the next generation, I feel are very closely bonded. Like they're kind of tied to the hip in many ways. They're very, but for me that might become a bit problematic because I feel like they're a little bit more afraid to be honest to each other. Whereas I think with us, friendship is definitely there, but when we have to be brutal and also honest as well, there's a sense of like, no, I don't. And we don't have to, Molly, kind of like dress each other up in cotton wool and only, where I feel like the next generation is beautiful because it's so close, but I also feel like they're very soft to each other. Whereas I think all three of us will still kind of, and our kind of generation will still challenge each other. We'll still say, don't agree. I don't agree, don't agree, don't agree. And I don't think this is great. I think you can, and I think that's incredible because it forces you to say, and I might disagree with you and not like you in that moment in my head, but somewhere in my mind, I think, okay,
stay.
I'm gonna push it forward and improve. So there is a sense of like pushing each other. I feel the next generation, I don't think they have that type of like dual relationship where they can
They
be
get offended
honest.
very easily.
Offended. With us, we will get offended, but we know the offense is not going to be, I'm going to block you, on my social media, and I'm going to block you out my mind, life. I'm going to take your offense and I'm going to transform it into something incredible and then give it back to you.
Yeah.
That's the
Like that.
difference. Yeah, exactly.
Like
Ale. Yeah.
When you think of Bahara now, what has stayed in your body And do you carry something from that time into how you work or relate today?
Teamwork is what I still think about, because that was the first piece I actually played with five musicians, and that too with all of them for a long period of time, and needed to coordinate with the cellist and Jatanil and the sarod player, and then remember all the compositions, change my position, go to cajon and play the tabla and the other percussion. So it was a new challenge. I'd never done it before when I was in India, and I just started learning the tabla, when before I came to the UK. So it was just 2 3 years I started learning, and went to Kadam for a year, and that's when I met Urja. And I, my vocabulary of Kathak was also very limited, and so was my vocabulary of tabla in those days. But I actually got to learn a lot, and then after that, I have not done a production where I played 75 compositions. So like my wife is a dancer now with her, I perform with her many times, and but even with when she does a pure solo, we don't do 50 or 70 compositions. Or when I did Mehak with Akash, there was no 50, 70 composition. Or when I worked with Urja and some other pieces of hers. But Bahara was like different. Acoustic, what do you call? Very raw, and for me, and I think that those compositions, I still remember all of them. So even when I meet Urja and she recites them, though, and she says one phrase, and I remember the whole thing now. And I think, wow, it's incredible. 25 years ago, I played these compositions. After that, I've never played them, but I still remember them. So it's like how much work we did, like how many times we rehearsed the whole thing, and I think teamwork would be the thing for me. And
Yeah, there's a lot of like you introduced a different type of ang to me for physically talking about the body. Different type of ang, different type of relationship of the body to space. There was reminiscence of Kumiben, but then there was reminiscence of your own folk training and just you as an individual. And I think that kind of like relationship to space and kind of the geometry of the body is something that I feel kind of has lived on and incarnated and changed slightly. But there was a big thing about the and I love your choreography. I think is one of your strongest points. Like I still remember some movement. Was it to divang tak to divang tak dilang dilang? There was this one part of some composition, and you did this really nice move where we went back and then we came forward and then you went back and then you came forward, and for some strange reason, I don't know what possessed you, you decided to get rid of it. So you did the same composition, but you changed the movement. And I was like, no, please, I love it. No, it's changing. So, there's a lot of the physical that has remained, but I think in the astral body, the dance spirit, that fragrance of that spring is still there. When I close my eyes and I hear the sarod of the starting of Bahara, I can almost smell the fragrance of Bahara here, sitting here today. And I think that's what's really beautiful and special about it, that the fragrance of the spring you created then has blossomed and bloomed into full summer now.
And the other question is, do you carry something from that time into how you work or realize today?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think I carry fragments of every production, every person I've worked with. I feel like at points I felt like what's the word? A jigsaw of many experiences. A montage, let's say, better word. A montage of different experiences throughout my life and career, and I think Bahara definitely stays there, here somewhere where it, especially the ones in the earlier days, like, we did Ekatra, there wasn't much work happening. And then, this was probably one of the first professional Kathak full productions that I did ever. This one. So Bahara definitely set kind of a foundation, and then after that, I of course went to Kadam and there was stuff which happened. This was the first. And the first of anything you do is always the most prominent. It's the one which sticks the most and stays the most. So for me, yeah, a lot of you exists in me, in what I do today. And a lot of Hiren's music and musicality and sense of humor also sticks with me and is part of what I do, in today's work.
Like when I work with a group of musicians now, I just did one project with a couple of musicians in Ahmedabad, and but they were all percussionists. Majority of them were. But this thing of, I think I got the belief that I can manage 5 6 musicians on stage if I have to, like, and get the best out of that particular team that I have, which I think Bahar actually helped me. As I said, it was the first time I had ever worked with 5 people on on a piece, and I think for me it was a this production was a big confidence booster for myself, if I can say for my own self, that yes, I can work with people, I can create something, I can help a piece be more creative and reach greater heights.
I think as we change, as we grow, the friendship matures. Yeah, in some cases, sadly so, it degrades. But I think the friendships that you like, it's music, like me and music right now. I will remember every lyric of all the songs I heard when I was 14 to 17, 18, 20. Anything after recent songs, nothing sits in my head. It's the same with my friendships as well. The friendships that I had made a long time ago are the friendships that are just as strong today, and they're just the same. And new things, new people come and go. And now with social media, it's like dime a dozen people to come. But the people who are really part of it have stayed and grown. Like I remember Urja saying to me once, I remember sitting at the South Bank and I said, Urja, you okay? You okay? You okay? And she goes, you've changed. I said, yeah, I know I've changed. Of course I've changed. The time has changed. I'm not, she goes, I feel, like you were more naive and innocent before. And I was like, yeah, I agree with it. But like I said, when I went with that naivety and innocence outside in the rest of the world and worked, and I was met with walls, I realized that, reserve that for the people that you have that connection with, i.e. yourself, with Hiren, with, a few other people. But I think things change. Friendships also change. But sometimes you've got to say shukar guzar to God or whoever you believe in, that the people who you're connected to, like you guys, it's not changed. It's still the same. In a matured way, we can still laugh about the same silly things. We'll still laugh about certain things that happened then. And I think that's incredible. That's a real friendship.
That's what I said. It's special because it's not that I talk to Akash or you every day, but because now I don't live in the UK. Even when I used to live there in the UK, I never spoke to you guys every day. But like whenever I message you or Akash and he calls me, I want to call back or I want to respond. So I think that's important. So as I said that you guys are not unwanted in my life ever. So I think this friendship is very, very special for me. So it's nothing about music, and I don't consider like music or dance or whatever. That's okay. That's our jobs. That's what we do. That's okay. But the friendship is more important and more precious than Kaidas, Peshkar, Reela, and Tukada.
And if Bahara had a quiet intention, not a message, what do you think it was?
I think the quiet message and intention of Bahara is never lose hope. Gloomy days will come, gloomy days will go. But remember, at the end of all of these seasons, there's new life. Spring is just round the corner. Just hold on and do what you do. And most importantly, embrace the winter. Embrace the frost, because the frost is only going to melt when the sun comes out.
I think Bahara's intention was to create a piece with new artists with no intention as such as to show someone that, oh, I'm here and my company is here and I'm going to create a piece and then just see how great we are. But it was like everyone's journeys combined together, and Urja's what do you call her intention? That's what I felt was just to create a piece which we all can love, which we feel proud of. So I think to get a new team with new people and to create something like this 19, 20 years ago with all your family responsibilities and everything. I think it was a great team effort, and the best part of Bahara was that it was not there to boast about itself. It was just there to spread, like just like water.
So now I've got few one word answers. Are you happy now?
Absolutely.
Am I happy?
That's
Maybe.
the answer.
Okay. If you could go back in time and change one specific moment in your life, what would that be?
If I could go back in time, I could reduce the number of tukudas from 82 to 32.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could go back in time and change something, I would have made the most of some of the people who are coming and going through Bahara.
Okay. So now it's a well established fact that we are very good friends. Very, very, very good friends. Tell me
Really?
something about yourself that I don't know.
Sometimes I feel shy, even with, like, at least with Urja, if I shy in the sense, if I have to ask something from her, I know she's never made me feel like that, but I'm slightly hesitant. Okay, shall I ask her or not? But then eventually I'll ask you.
So for Urja, you don't know how much I can eat. Like I can
No,
really.
that's a
No,
lie.
wait.
That's a
How
lie.
many cakes and rotis and I can just keep eating.
What topic is no one talking about now that historians will study in future? And it is to do with the dance and art.
The ridiculousness of social media trends, whether that's people think they're being political, and I personally don't believe that dance and arts needs to be, I don't believe that you need to be an activist constantly. If you don't fit in, you're kind of witch hunted and cast aside. I don't agree with that. I believe each person should be entitled to their own opinion. Whether they agree, we don't all have to agree on a topic or about a country that is under siege or whatever. We don't have to. We can have different opinions. So I think going forward, I think when they'll pick at dance and they'll see how it was politically influenced, I think that's going to be a hot topic and maybe a learning curve for people in the future to let art be art.
I think the traditional aspect of learning any art form, which is I think is fast disappearing, like the guru shishya thing. Now everyone who teaches art is a teacher, and the students also treat them as if, oh, you're my teacher, I'm paying 30 pounds an hour, so it's okay. And I can say no to my teacher. Like even now, when I have to say no to Yogesh, I feel so bad. But all my students they're very, very thorough about it, and they don't feel कि oh yeah, how can I say this to Hiren? They go, but sir, आज वो नहीं आओ, आज हमारे काम पे. Even though they're in the same city and that work is not important, I know that. So these things about learning the art from respecting your elders or your guru, or like taking the art seriously, just and doing the art because you love it, not because you want 5,000 followers on Instagram.
Okay, if you could only speak with or call and see 4 people for the next 4 years, who would that be?
Urja, Hiren, Jatanil, Archita.
So Urja and Akash and
Cheat, that's my answer.
then my guru Yogesh ji and my mom.
Oh, your wife doesn't come into it?
These are the people who I don't stay with.
Okay.
Is there something you associate with a key moment of hardship in your life?
I do remember Ekatra time. I think that was a really tough time. Nowhere to live, nowhere to sleep, nowhere to eat, nothing to eat, nothing, no money, no nothing. So that was
My
hard.
God, when you told me that first
yeah.
time, I don't know if you know that, but I started crying there, and Akash was like, "I'm okay now. Don't worry." I said, "No, but why didn't you say anything at that time?"
There was no money for a jacket, so I used to wear a cardigan. So those times were hard. Those are key moments. One of them, anyway. But that's good. It's helped now. I'll never forget that, and that's why we have this bond. You appreciate people because they're special.
Yeah, I had some hard moments when I was in Mumbai. So those 2-3 years was difficult, yeah. But
Okay, and this is actually the last one. What was the best conversation you ever had and why?
I think my best conversation is the one I've had just now today because it's made me realize what an incredible friendship we've had, and actually, what an incredible time we had. You don't get time often to think about things that have happened, and you have to live in the present. So, for today, in my present moment, this is the best conversation I've had.
Same for me.
Cheat. Find your own answer. Find your own answer. Go on.
No, I think I had incredible conversation with many people in my life, but I think today was really nice.
Friendship becomes presence, generosity asks for surrender, trust slowly grows into faith, and the movement, when it's shared, begins to carry meaning. This work wasn't held together by certainty. It was held by people choosing to stay, to listen, to give, and to move together. Thank you for being part of this remembering. This is Rhythm and Chai. Thank you, Akash and Hiren.
Thank you, Urja. Thank you, Akash, for
Thank
this
you.
lovely 2 hours on the Zoom.
And may we all meet again and do a bit of Bahara. Urja, that's down to you. Why? Because it's from your world that we united. So bring us back. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rhythm and Chai. These conversations are about remembering, and it's about recognizing the people and relationships that hold the work up. If something in today's conversation stayed with you, I hope you will carry it forward. Join me next time as we continue listening to what lives beneath the rhythm, shared slowly over a chai.